Law number 5, the law of impact. Employer brand impacts every part of the company. Let's get something clear from the jump. People are not your company's greatest assets. People are your company. Full stop. Without people, a company is a taxation number and a set of legal rules. The entire purpose of a company is to enable a group of people to do more together than what an individual could do by themselves. By itself, a company does and is nothing. It makes nothing. In pretty much every sense, a company without people isn't anything. This means that for all the value that marketing brings to the table to get people to understand why people should buy a product or like a brand, employer branding owns the human side of the brand. Now, this is of note because it turns out the companies are just people. People who work in development or sales or HR or procurement, the people who work in marketing or operations, they all need to hire people, which means they need to have a compelling message around their differentiated value that they can share to attract and hire the people who are going to grow that team and going to grow that company as a whole. Pro tip, having some issues with a certain team, marketing, wait until they have a critical role that isn't filling fast enough. Spoiler, it's never filling fast enough. And then jump in and offer to help. When they see how you work and how what you do is different from how they work, they're going to start to see your value more and ask you to show up to more meetings. But the employer brand impacts the company because the company's people are the driver for every choice, every decision made at that company. The new feature that the press is raving about, people did that. The customer service that people love. People make the decisions as to what constitutes good service and who resources it. That account manager who went above and beyond to save the account, that's a person, and they probably work with other people to solve the problem. Even the executive being sued for creating a toxic work environment, well, despite all evidence, that's really a person. So if people are the lifeblood of a company, there is value in having everyone who works there understand the shared goals, missions, values, and behaviors of the company. People aligned towards the same ideas generally have higher productivity. Conversely, everyone knows the story of companies that let that one overperforming jerk get away with murder because they bring in so much business. But in the end, that tolerated behavior poisons the well for everybody else. That one person, and the leadership who refuses to fix the problem, reshapes the culture negatively. Alignment here creates its own value. When people have a shared understanding of the rules of working at the company, when they all see the same goalposts, they'll all work better. They work with less rancor. They have less friction. And any existing friction is resolved faster and more amicably. Why this works? The employer brand defines and describes to people on the outside how the company works and what it rewards. It sets a frame around which people set their expectations about what the experience will be like and the likelihood that they'll be satisfied there. The power of this becomes obvious when you see it through the flywheel. Let's say you offer autonomy to candidates. I'm just picking one at random. Candidates who want and value autonomy are more likely to apply. And they're more likely to be hired because they align to what the stated values are. And when you hire more people who care about autonomy, you increase the number of people who work who care about autonomy, which means the company cares more about autonomy, which in turn attracts more people who value autonomy. The employer brand creates its own self-fulfilling prophecy because it is the thinking around the impression a company makes to the candidate. Where this falls apart, one of the core frictions in our work is balancing what we see and hear from staff every single day and the company that the leadership thinks the company is or wants to be. So when the brand is emanating from every part of the company and impacting every part of the company, a lack of alignment with leadership intentions and aspirations becomes obvious. The net result is a fragmented sense of what it's like to work there, thereby hamstringing the brand's ability to help the company. How does it describe the company when the company doesn't even know and agree on what the company is? The other major obstacle here is that the company is unwilling to see how the brand, which encapsulates the work experience, the values and the cultures and all sorts of other things, can become a kind of operating instructions for working at the company. Many teams see themselves as special or independent from what the rest of the company thinks. right? Think about developers in the early days of Facebook or traders in an investment firm. Examples. For companies where people are the most obvious differentiating value, this law is crystal clear. Think of an airline. Every airline has to fly to the same cities. They use the same airports. They cover the same geography. They fly through the same airspace. They all fly the same planes even. The biggest difference between, say, a Delta and a United are the people who work there. The people staffing the gates, handling onboardings and delays, the flight attendants providing service, the baggage handlers making sure your luggage gets to where it goes in one piece, and even the pilots who are committed to safety and speed. In companies like this, it doesn't take much at all to see the difference between a strong and clear brand and one in which it's all mostly pretty words and pictures with nothing underneath it. This is also true for consulting firms, where a McKinsey or an EY, they might have an operating philosophy or a process, but it's the people who create the connections, who build the solutions, who serve the customer. Your only interaction with the consultant firm comes through the consultant assigned to the project. And so the brand has a huge impact on who's attracted to the company and how the firm is seen by customers. Compare that to, say, a McDonald's, where it doesn't really matter who's staffing the grill. The output is meant to be foolproof, exactly the same over and over again, whether you're eating in Hoboken or Hollywood.